No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it. You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey, gardeners. Hope you're all having a great week out in your gardens. I'm just here checking out our little living room plants, checking out our Monstera delicosia. Look at this new leaf. Isn't that amazing? Look at all of those nice fenestrations on that leaf there. This one came out in the last few weeks. Looking really awesome. As you could tell, we've decided to keep the Monstera as well too. It does still got a few more leaves it can put out before it reaches the ceiling. So we're going to keep that in the background for a little while longer for sure. And then of course we've got all of our other plants that you're used to seeing each week here on the show. In the background here, got some of our pothos and a transcanthia that I've put up over here too as well. It's growing really well. Got another philodendron back here you guys don't get to see back in the corner. So right on, everyone. We've got Maria from Growing Joy with Maria today to talk a bit about these house plants. All right, everyone, let's get growing. All right. Here we are, all my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts. It's time for the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today. We've got a really, really fantastic show for you coming up here today. A little bit later on in the show, we've got Maria from Growing Joy with Maria joining with us today on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about house plants, as I mentioned there at the opening. We'll talk a bit of house plants with Maria coming up here later on the show. So if you got house plants and you've got any questions or anything you'd like to learn about house plants, definitely stay tuned for later in the show for our conversation with Maria coming up. And then also too here for our first segment of the show in just a little bit as well too, we're going to catch up with our facilitator and producer Jade Dixon. She'll be joining with us here just a little bit here on the show as well too. So right on, everybody. Again, thank you so much for being here with us today. And also real quick here, let's make sure that everybody's jumping in for our roll call. We've got roll call coming up here. This is our new segment coming up where we get to give you all a shout out here on the show at the top of the show. So we'll have roll call coming up here in a few minutes. So definitely jump into the chat right now if you're here with us right now and let us know you're here. Let us know where you're growing from. Let us know what you got growing on. And we'll definitely try to get you in on our roll call segment that's coming up here in just a few minutes as well too. So definitely be jumping in there and let us know that you all are here. As well as while you're at it, let's go ahead and click the like button too. You want to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and episodes of the show and all of that as well. And definitely share with all of your friends out there in the gardening world, all your garden friends. Let them know about the Let's Get Growing show. We're here every weekend. This is now your 3-day gardening weekend here on the Let's Get Growing show. That's right. We're here every Saturday and Sunday as usual, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And now we're also here on Monday evenings. That's right. We've got our new show, The Green Room, Monday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, with some great conversations with our good friend Natalie from the Fresh Princess is our co-host on Monday evening. And we'll talk all about here in just a few minutes who we've got coming up on the Green Room for this week and next week here at the end of the show. We'll tell you about that as well too. And also, big, huge shout out to all of you replay watchers, those of you who are watching us on your time. Thank you so much for joining with us here today on the show. And definitely drop into our chat and comment section here and let us know that you're here, just like all of our folks for the roll call. Let us know you're here. Let us know what you got growing on, where you're growing from, and all that sort of stuff. I'd love to hear from you down below in our comments, even if you just want to stop by and say hello. And if you're here with us live, definitely join in on the conversation. As I said, we got roll call coming up, or when we got our guest on here just a little bit later on in the show too, you can drop in your questions or comments into the chat, and we'll definitely try to get those questions asked of our guest throughout our conversation today. And again, good houseplant questions. If you got some houseplant questions, this is going to be the time to get those answered for sure. You definitely want to get those in on our conversation. And of course, follow all the links down below for our guests there. We got some great links to their YouTube, Instagram, also a class we'll talk about with her in a little bit later as well too. So definitely check those links to our guests down below. And if you can, go and check out, like I said, they've got a YouTube channel, Instagram. Go by and say hello to Maria on her channel there in one of her comment sections, and let her know that you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. I really appreciate it when you guys take that little extra step and you go and visit our guests and you go and show them some love from the Let's Get Growing show. That's just really, really awesome. It's such an amazing way to be able to support our show, Let's Get Growing, plus support all these just really amazing guests that we're so fortunate. I mean, we're fortunate. Look at this. We've got probably one of the really coolest conversations you're going to find on gardening here on the weekend. And we're so fortunate to have these amazing guests take their time to be with us on the show. So it's really awesome when you guys show them some support as well too, by going and visiting their channels and leaving those comments and everything as well too. So really great to have you do that as well. Also, everybody, I am talking about this too here. We'll be talking about it throughout February as well. Our sponsor, you get to see our sponsor on our breaks here each and every week. Ivy Organic is doing their annual free fruit and plant scion giveaway all throughout the month of February over at ivyorganics.com. And usually they're doing fig cutting giveaways they've been doing over the last few years, but they've expanded it out to all sorts of different fruit and plants and scions and all these sort of things. They still got figs. They got a whole bunch of things for you to choose from to get for free along with your order there. So definitely go over to ivyorganics.com. That's right, ivyorganics.com. Get some of that 3-in-1 plant guard. I'm telling you, you're going to want some of this for your fruit trees and these the scions that you're going to get for free and all of that as well too. You're going to want to get some of that 3-in-1 plant guard for your garden. And while you're over there at ivyorganics.com, use our promo code GROW10, GROW10, to get 10% off of your order there, as well as some of those free fruit scions and plants and all the sort of cool stuff that they've got to give away for free to you there as well. So 10% off, free fruit plants and scions to choose from, and getting some really a really awesome gardening product into your gardening shed all in one swoop. Definitely take advantage of that if you can, for sure. And I'll just put this up one more time for you all. That's ivyorganics.com. Use our promo code GROW10, GROW10. Yes, definitely do that there. And also, everybody, I'm going to mention this too. One more week. I'll mention through this weekend here again. We do have our new segment, Snapshots of the Week, and I've been trying to get folks to send me pictures and send me pictures from your garden or what you've got growing on, whether you got some starts or you're just getting some seeds going. Do you got a garden pet, someone who's always hanging out with you in your garden? Do you got some cool garden decor? Do you got anything going on and growing on in your garden at all? Snap some photos of it and send those off to me over at the Urban Gardener at mail.com. And again, too, similar to roll call and all that, let me know who you are, where you're growing from, and let me know a little bit about the picture, and we'll feature those on our Snapshots of the Week. I really want this little side segment for our breaks to really work out. out. So I'm really looking to all of you folks out there who are watching us to be able to send us some of those photos from your garden so that we can feature those here on our show, because I want to see what you guys got growing on. This is a great opportunity to be able to participate with the show, and as well give me an opportunity to see what you've got growing on in your gardens. So definitely send those out to us again at the Urban Gardener at mail.com. That's mail.com, the Urban Gardener, and send me those photographs. I would love to see what you all have growing on in your gardens. So right on, everybody. Just really awesome to have you all here with us today. And as I mentioned just a few minutes ago at the top of the show, we got our new segment here called Roll Call.
My name is Kevin.
Yeah.
That is my name.
Yeah.
They call me Kevin.
Yeah.
Because that's my name.
Roll call.
So all right. So here we are. It's roll call time here on the show, and this is a little segment that we're doing here this year on the show now at the top of the show to be able to welcome all of you folks here who are joining with us here at the beginning of the show, and to be able to give you all a shout out and to say hi for a few minutes and hang out with all of you who are spending your time with us here on the Let's Get Growing show to come hang out and everything. So thank you so much for being here with us today. I really do appreciate it. But let's dig into this roll call and see who we got joining with us today. And of course, definitely right at the top of our roll call, we want to say a big, huge hello and thank you to our facilitator and backstage producer, Jay Dixon, who will be joining with us here in just a few minutes too. We'll catch up with Jay here in just a little bit as well. She's joining us from Ontario, Canada. Thank you so much, Jay, for being here. And we look forward to saying hello in just a few minutes here on the show. We also got joined with us from the future. As I like to say, we've got our good friend Rick joining us from down under in Australia right now. Bright and early too. Bright and early from the future. It's Saturday morning for us here on the west coast of the US where I'm at right now. It is really, really early, probably somewhere around 4 or 5 a.m. for Rick on Sunday. He's up with us on Sunday, bright and early in the future, hanging out with us. So Rick, thank you so much for taking your time to be here with us. I really, really appreciate you joining in with us on the show all the way from across the globe from us. Thank you so much. And we've got Craft Organics. Awesome to see you. It's been great to see you in our chat and joining up with our show here. Just really great. Great to have you here with us today. So thank you so much for being here. And Kraft says they're from Southern Illinois. Awesome. I don't know if we've if you've got a channel, that's what you're saying, Craft Organic, will definitely maybe get you a link or something out there, something so folks can come check out your channel there too. You also say you're starting some seedlings for your garden. Excellent. Yes, it's time. I've got some things I got to get started before I get too behind on things, that's for sure. So I've been gathering my seeds and gathering my garden plan over this last week, just trying to dip in and get started and thinking about what I'm going to get going this year. So yeah, it's definitely time for a lot of us to really get moving when it comes to getting some of those seeds started up for our gardens coming up for sure. We've got Robin joining us from Chicagoland, and she says she's officially entered false spring. It's 52 degrees Fahrenheit, some nice warm weather after the last few weeks of some really cold, freezing weather. And she says that this will warm up will last through the 21st. Well, that's nice. A little false spring. We get those here. I was just talking with someone yesterday about we've had some nice weather over the last few days here. And since I moved here about 14 years ago to Southern Oregon, every February we get this false spring, if you will. And it's just these really nice days. I remember I moved here in February. It was February when I moved here 14 years ago. And it was literally like a few days after we moved here, we were out like mowing and raking the yard and doing yard work. And I was new to the area. I was like, is this what it's really like this early? And no, it did get cold again a few weeks later and everything too. It definitely was a false spring. It shows up for us every February for sure, ever since. We got Lex joining with us here. Awesome to see you, Lex. Thanks for jumping in the chat there. It's great to have you here with us and joining us from what's this Ladakh, Asia. Ooh, boy, I mean, I need to know just a little bit more about where we are exactly there too. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, let's see here. We've got Shawnee Groves in the conversation as well too. She said, "Did everyone get their list done today?" Yes, you got your list done. If not, you better get working on it. Like I was saying, I got things I got to get working on too. Before things start really falling behind for me, for sure. And then we got Rob joining us from Rob's Allotment Gardening. Good day to you, Rob. It's always great to see you here. It says lovely day here and no rain over there in the UK where Rob's at right now. So that's awesome. No rain for those folks who live in rainy areas, man. And I used to live in Seattle up in the North Pacific Northwest. And man, in these times of year when it's just constant rain, it's so great to get a little bit of a break from it for sure. Darth X, great to see you. Got flowers blooming, crocus and snowdrops. Yeah, I was just out. I've got all the greens are popping up. I've got tulips and all sorts of stuff that's out there. All my irises and my crocuses and all these sort of different spring flowers are all popping through, and I can see all the greens coming up right now. And that's definitely over our fall spring that we had. They're like, oh, it's time to get out. It's time to get growing. But again, we'll see how that all works out for those flowers for sure. Right on, everybody. So again, thank you all so much for being here. It's really great to have you all here with us today. Thanks for dropping in here for our roll call here at the top of the show. Really appreciate you being here. And if you didn't get a chance to get your name shouted out for roll call, definitely drop in. We'll try to get you dropped in on the screen here throughout the show. And especially for those of you who got some questions for us, drop those questions in and all of that. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. And let's go ahead real quick here and let's go ahead and take our first break, and then we'll be right back here in just a moment. We'll catch up with our good friend, the J-Bot.
Ivory Organic was founded on the gardening concept of whitewashing, simply lightening your plants to better tolerate weather extremes, transplant shock, and so much more. Such a valuable gardening practice that farmers have been doing it since BC times. However, in recent years, most research has been caring for plants and trees using latex and tar-based products which are designed to last 100 years but fall off your plants within 1 to 2 years as your plants grow, contaminating your garden soil indefinitely. Available in colors white or more natural looking colors such as brown, green, gray, and grayish. Ivory Organic has 2 general categories of whitewash products. The 3-in-1 Plant Guard, which includes 7 natural oils including castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint, which offer insect and rodent repellent protection, and the whitewash oil-free formula. Both products also have diatomaceous earth in the base ingredients, which naturally offer some insect repellent protection too. As always, keep growing with Ivory Organics, and wishing you all happy gardening.
Hi gardeners, this is Brandy, the Suburban Gardenista, and I'm here today with your garden trivia for this Valentine's Day. Your question for today is, which common garden vegetable was historically known as the love apple? And your options are A, the potato, B, the zucchini, C, the tomato, or D, the beet. I'll be back a little bit later in the show with the answer.
All right. Do you know the answer to Brandy's trivia question? Drop into the chat if you think you know what the answer is there. And also a big thank you to Brandy for the garden chat. Awesome. Or the garden trivia anyways. Thank you so much for doing that for us. And we'll catch up with the answer here in just a little bit here on the show. And before we get moving on here today, I do want to mention about our shows last week. Did you get a chance to check out our conversations from last week's Let's Get Growing show last Saturday? On the Let's Get Growing show, we had with us Gary Pilarchik from the Rusted Garden joined with us last Saturday on the show. Really great to catch up with Gary. It's always awesome to talk with him. He's a real OG, original gardener of YouTube. This guy's been around for a long time. One of the gardeners I've been following and learning from for many years here on YouTube as well too. So you want to go back and check out that conversation with Gary. We had a great discussion with him, as well as we got to talk with our sponsor Ivy Organic, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, about the free plant scion giveaway they're doing over at ivyorganic.com. We did have Charles on with us last week as well too to talk all about that giveaway. So again, you want to check that out, as well as go and get and take part of that giveaway if you can on the Sunday edition. As you know, we're here again 3 days, your 3-day gardening weekend here on our Sunday edition. Last week it was the second Sunday of the month, and on the second Sunday of the month we have with us Scott Wilson from the Gardener Scott channel for our Ask Gardener Scott show. Every second Sunday of the month we get Gardener Scott on with us to answer all of your gardening questions. And we had like a really great double header of this in a way too, because again, we had Gary on our Saturday show. He's just such a wealth of knowledge as well too, so we had a chance to dig in and answer a bunch of great gardening questions as well with everybody. And then definitely our second day in a row of some great gardening education for all of you as well with Gardener Scott. It's always great to have him. We always have just an amazing conversation talking about all aspects of gardening, but the ability to interact with all of you folks out there who watch our show and to be able to answer all of your gardening questions with Gardener Scott is just so much fun. It's really awesome. So you definitely want to go check that out, learn a little bit more about gardening, but definitely keep an eye out for the second Sundays of the month so that you can come and get your gardening questions answered here with Gardener Scott live on our show. And then, as well as I've mentioned too, we are a 3-day gardening weekend now here on the Let's Get Growing show. And on Monday evenings, we have our new show, The Green Room. Yeah, The Green Room. That's with Natalie and I. Natalie from The Fresh Princess joins me as co-host for The Green Room on Monday evening. And this last Monday, we had on the show with us Andre the Farmer and Gardening with Gray. We had both of those guys on with us. We had a really fun conversation with them. We do some fun stuff. It's a little bit of a different show for sure. You got to come check out our lightning round too. I think we're dialing it in when it comes to that, and we're just having some really great fun with all of our guests there on the Monday show. So you're definitely going to want to come and check out that show coming up there as well too. So right on, everybody, go back and check out all of those really fun shows from last week if you didn't get a chance to check those out. So all right, everybody, let's go ahead and jump in here. We've got our good friend. We got to have her on the show every now and then and catch up with what she's got going on. She's here with us every weekend. Y'all get to see her in the chat. She's facilitating things, dropping in links and giving y'all further information on topics that we're showing. And as well too, as I mentioned during the roll call, if you're new to the show and you've got a channel and all of that as well, Jay will drop in links to your channel as well and all of that. She does such an amazing job facilitating our chat. But every now and then we got to get her live on the show so that we can talk with her a little bit about what she's got growing on. So all right, everybody, let's welcome the J-Bot. The J-Bot. All right, here we are. Let's welcome to the show Jay Dixon, the Let's Get Growing facilitator, and pretty much anymore, Jay, our backstage producer as well too. Thank you, Jay, for coming and hanging out with us this week here on the show. Give us a chance to catch up with you and see what you've got growing on here.
Thanks. Great. Happy to see everybody. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Oh, I almost forgot. It's Valentine's Day.
I'm wearing a Love is Love t-shirt, which isn't
Awesome.
terribly visible here, but you can see the love part anyway. Yes.
Yeah, right on.
So
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I almost forgot. It's Valentine's Day too. How about that? Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope you've
thank you.
I hope you're having a great day and got someone to celebrate with.
Yes. And I just wanted to mention that because it is a holiday that means quite a bit to some people. And for those that don't have that, we're all your friends and family here. So
That's right. That's right. We're here for you anyways, right?
yes.
All right. All right. Excellent. Excellent. So, how things been growing on for you? It's been a few weeks since we've seen you here on the show. So, how you been doing?
It's been a bit of a busy week, a bit of a stressful week, most of it good stress, a lot of it chosen stress, like interesting activities and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a bit of a time. This is not gardening related, so I will only mention this briefly. During last Sunday's show, I was getting my furnace repaired because I live in Canada and it is a chilly, chilly little place, very, very cold.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my main furnace went out and could not get revived. So I had to pay double time to bring in a cheery little furnace person to come and do whatever magical things they do to get me my main heat back. Now, because I'm a little bit of a planner, not as good as Shawnee with her clipboard, but somewhat of a planner, I do have a gas fireplace and a gas furnace because I live in a tiny home in Canada and I like having some sort of backup system. So it wasn't like I was in serious trouble, but for those who don't do what I did with the backup furnace, backup fireplace, it was minus 22 Celsius, which I don't know what that means in freedom points where you are, but really, 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 really cold. So it will cause problems for your home and yourself, no matter what you try to do if you are in that kind of temperature. So I had to pay double. So I
Oh,
was
my.
happy and unhappy. That's the
That's
definition of mixed
right.
feelings there. Like, thanks for helping me and costing me a lot. So
Yeah, I feel that way on some other issues in my life as well too, but it's
yeah.
good to get things taken care of, fixed and back in order the way they're supposed to be, even though it puts us behind just a little bit for sure.
So
And
I'm not
Shawnee
gonna
was in there saying she wanted to ask you about your backups, but she's glad that you answered that too, because you got to have a backup living in that kind of situation.
Yes, yes, yes. I have several different backups for different systems. I'm trying to do this on a tight budget, so I'm doing it as I can afford it, as I can kind of manage it. But yes, I do that. It's not really gardening related, but it did affect me, and it was a big, big emergency situation. And then the other thing that's been using up a whole lot of my energy, which is, we'll call it landscaping related, but not quite
Mm,
gardening related.
yeah, yeah.
I spend tons of energy, a lot of time and energy going around and doing public snow shoveling because we have a lot of snow. So what I do as sort of a charity thing, I guess you might say, is I go out at dawn in a costume because of course, and I go out on the public paths and to the main two public recreation buildings that we have here, and I clear them very, very well. And that takes me on your ideal day 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours. And lately, because of the amount of snow we've been getting, 5 to 7 hours a day. So I'm a senior
Right.
citizen and I have multiple health problems. So it's absorbing a lot of my energy. For those that count, I was a cookie monster today. I am mostly in onesies because that's the most efficient thing for the shoveling. I did manage to pick up a couple of new shovels the other day, yesterday, and I'm hoping they're going to work out because I bought one a month ago and it couldn't take it. It gave up and died on me within a month. Yeah. So
Oh my.
well, I'm hard on shovels. I am out ka-chunking
Oh
difficult,
yeah. Ice and just yeah.
yeah, pack snow and everything. So I do bring a metal flat spade for when I am really chunking out pieces, but I am, let's put it this way, I'm getting myself in gardening condition by snow shoveling. So that's kind of the garden relating thing. It's more of a landscaping, property management thing. But my thing is basically, it's part of what I do to kind of tithe back to my community, to make it so that seniors and disabled people can go to cards, go to darts, go to craft groups. We recently just got our pool repaired. It was also having some problem. And so aquafit and, you know, pool walking and all those kinds of things that are great for people and no matter what their life circumstances. And I want it smooth and nice and safe for people to be able to participate. So that's one of the things that I do. So not directly gardening related, but we are currently under 3 to 4 feet of snow in most places, and gathered places it's anywhere between 5 and 12 feet.
Oh my. Oh, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. I feel for you folks who gotta live in those conditions. I've mentioned on the show before, I did spend plenty of my teenage years up in Alaska, so I definitely understand what it's like to live in such cold, snowy weather. And as much as we could really use some of it around here where I live in Southern Oregon, oh man, it's kind of I am kind of, you know, silently thankful that I don't have to deal with the snow when we don't get as much this year. I mean, I'm not even sure. They've kind of forecasted maybe a little flurry coming up here in a week or so. Maybe, I don't know, but we're looking at like no snow at all so far this whole winter here where I'm at.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
what Robin had mentioned, which is the fall spring thing, we're about to encounter that for 7 to 10 days. Okay, so
Mhm.
hope is on the horizon, but most people think because it is getting near freezing temperatures, oh, isn't that better? But the thing is, people who have been kind of around for a while know that that's actually the beginning of different other problems about rain, freezing rain, runoff, sloppy snow. You know, the weight on the roofs. I live in a tiny home, so you have to think about the weight that's on your roof and clear some of that off, especially some of the smaller structures. So it is warming, but warming has its own issues. For example, after the show, I'm going to be out and cleaning near my shed because the 5 feet of snow that is near my shed will want to run inside of it when it melts this week. So,
Oh, yeah, that you gotta worry about the melt off and the flooding and then the mud and all of that sort of stuff. Up in Alaska, we used to call it breakup.
okay.
We called it breakup. So when does breakup start? And that's when everything starts melting and you got the big massive lake puddles everywhere, the mud that's 2 feet deep and just you got to go through that phase of everything too, huh?
Well, we're not at breakup. We're at false spring, which is kind of like what Robin was talking about,
Yep,
where
yep.
we're going to have some warming periods to give you hope and feel like life is worth living. And then winter will come back at you again. So it's all part of the cycle. You just learn to live with it. What I'm doing right now is what I call advancing the cause, which means that I am not getting new snow now, but all of the accumulated snow that I had to put in temporary piles, or if I cleaned the parking lot but not super well, or the walking paths but not like right down to the pavement and stuff, now I'm getting
Mhm.
it so that it's like, and further back so that the snow banks are further back, that kind of thing, lowering some of the ones that are okay but not great sight lines, so that kind of thing. So I am that's, and I know it's not gardening, but it occupies a lot of my time and energy, and believe me, at about 5 hours I start feeling very differently, both physically and mentally, about the whole shoveling thing.
I can imagine for sure. You
Yes.
probably do a lot of it, and again, those costumes probably get a little stuffy when you're working so hard, I bet, right?
Well, I dress for it. Basically, you dress like someone who's cross-country skiing, except very silly. So you wear layers of basically long underwear, and if you have to
Oh my.
fleece, depending on the temperatures, and then they are usually, the onesies are usually fleece. And they
Yeah.
work kind of like as a cross-country ski type outfit slash silly outfit slash snowmobile suit kind of thing, so that when I have to plunge into snow that's like 3 feet deep or something, it's keeping everything where I want it to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, snow is a real thing here. It is
Yeah,
a
I can.
factor you must consider, or you are a silly, silly person, which I kind of am. So like I say, Cookie Monster, moose, sometimes a cat. I'm a banana sometimes. The point is that sometimes winter can be a bit, for some people, and a little bit of silliness. And for example, yesterday I was clearing near the rec hall, and a new person to the park who was doing some service work for us saw me and was like, "What?" And what was I yesterday? Oh, I don't even remember. Oh, I was a chicken yesterday, and he was like, "Mm?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm just a volunteer that does snow clearing, but I like to look a little silly to give people a laugh while I snow clear, and
Yeah.
I'm clearing near here." And he goes, "I love it. I love it. I can't believe this." Like, just, yeah. So he got very, very,
Bring
his
some good winter cheer, which is
inner
great.
child just came right. He
Absolutely.
goes, "I can't believe this. Everybody should do this." And I said, "Well, not everybody is, hip with looking silly, but I say practicality, snow clearing,
Mhm.
silliness, just to give people a little bit of laugh in our winters." And
Yeah, yeah.
other things that have been going on with me, now we're going to get into gardening stuff a little bit, is that I have actually been getting ready, because soon, by around the end of February for my area, which is 6A, is seed starting. So I should be, and I haven't yet, but I should be seriously looking at what I should be planting. So maybe I can hear from
Mhm.
some of the people in the audience if they've got suggestions. I'm in 6A. So I would be starting my winter indoor stuff for my seedlings for planting on later. Probably things like peppers, probably onions, maybe Bersakias, but it might be a little soon. So anyway, I'm
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
willing to hear from people. So the indoor winter sowing should be happening, indoor seed starting. But the other thing is, I was part of I attended a video by Roots and Rambles by Robin and Shawnee, who are both here in our audience, and they did a thing on winter sowing, meaning
Mm,
how
yeah.
to sow and what you can sow outdoors. So I've never done that. So I'm inspired by what they conveyed, their information. I'm going to rewatch it with pen and paper, a clipboard for Shawnee, make notes so that I can learn well how to do it better, and look at what I might choose to plant. And so tomorrow, my intention is going out. It is our recycling garbage day. And I'm going to go like a trash panda through people's recycling, finding containers.
There you go.
So soon,
Yeah.
and get that ready. So if anybody's got suggestions, I am in 6A, and Robin is saying, "I just did allium, celery, and celeriac yesterday." Okay. She has a very similar area to me, like within a few weeks of the same. So
Yeah, yeah.
celeriac.
For
Ooh.
sure. Yeah, yeah. And if y'all want to check out Shawnee Grows and Robin Gardens, our contributors for our Monday evening green room, they do a Grow What You Eat segment for our green room show, but they also do their Roots and Rambles live stream as well too. And I believe Shawnee put a link in the chat for everybody if y'all want to go check that out and learn a little bit more about winter sowing.
Yeah, they did that. That was their most recent Roots and Rambles. And like I say, I was inspired by it. So I facilitate for Shawnee's channel. And she was hosting the Roots and Rambles, which she does about once a month with Robin. It's a new segment they started doing. And I listened attentively and will rewatch. and make notes, which I encourage everybody to do. We can learn so much from each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what what we're all about here in this community, right? Teaching and helping each other grow. And yeah, definitely check out that Roots and Rambles for sure. It's gonna be a great one. You don't want to miss those sort of great lessons that Shawnee pulls together there for sure. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. And let's talk real quick here before we get finishing up with you here today. You were on Gardner Scott's channel just a couple weeks back, a little bit there. How fun was that to get to hang out with Gardner Scott live on his channel with everybody, talking a little bit about what you do for our show and Gardner Scott's live streams as well too. So why don't you talk just a little bit about that, your discussion with Gardner Scott, and maybe tell us also a little bit about some of the other channels and live streams that you facilitate.
Yeah, so that was a couple of weeks ago. I was a guest. It was arranged ahead that I would be a guest for Gardner Scott. I've been moderating / facilitating his channel for a number of years, and he asked me probably about a year in if I was willing to be a guest, but I wasn't quite so comfortable with being in front of the camera at that time. He did ask me a couple of times, and I let him know recently that now I've reached a comfort level where I can. I'm just going to take a quick look here just at the moment. Onions, sweet peppers, chili peppers, tomatoes, petunias, and begonias. I think it's too early for tomatoes for me, because England, where Rob's attic is slightly different for those things, but some flowers I might be able to start. I have to be a little more careful because we have a more severe winter than he does. But I'm taking notes about who all the suggestions people are having. And Dusty Flats is talking about winter sowing jugs sprouting too soon and will freeze next weekend. Yes, I have to consider, like right now, my side yard is packed full of snow, almost 5 feet tall, the entire thing. Because I backfill because I know so I backfill in the distance and fill towards the paths or the driveways. So we are not putting little jugs in our yards.
Right.
Not a thing. So anyway, back to the Gardner Scott thing. So I just put a link in the chat about it, and it was a very interesting thing. I loved participating in it. What I didn't realize at the time, because all I had was the time with Gardner Scott and some comments, I didn't realize what a love fest it was in the chat. In fact, I don't know if I would have been able to continue the interview if I had any idea what was going on there. People were all too kind with me, very appreciative, very, very effusive. It was just a fantastic experience. I would say I had trouble getting my head through the door for a couple of days. It was just like that big. And I don't mean like a big greeter head like one of my costumes. I mean, yeah. So
right, I get it.
it was a very beautiful, affirming experience, and I thank every one of you for it. It was just great. And so what I basically do is there's moderators on YouTube, but when I started moderating, I started with Gardner Scott, and I asked him if it would be okay if I did something more than the regular moderation. I studied the YouTube rules, try to follow them as best I understand them, etc. But I wanted more happening. So I wanted facilitation, which is a term I kind of made up. I don't think it exists within the YouTube world. It's a real word in the world, but
that's right,
not in YouTube. It's not a thing. So essentially what I'm trying to do is help support the channels, including this particular one, with other stuff beside the basic moderation. So what I'm trying to do is make it a fuller, better experience for the host or channel owner in live streams, the guests that they have, any affiliates that they have, like sponsors, affiliates, any contributors that they have, and then of course, and not last but not least, is the chat area, is people in the chat. So I'm trying to do things to make it a welcoming community, an informative community, to make the experience a better, fuller one as best I know how. I've made it all up. I really just, no training, no experience. I just tried to come up with ways that I felt was going to make it better for the individual and better for the community. And so I do different things to try and essentially provide links, provide quotes, provide information so that people feel welcomed, people feel appreciated. We try to answer more questions than the host or the guest can manage because it's a limited time frame that they've got. I try to encourage other channels to show out and get some value from being with us, information, etc.
Yeah.
So I do it for a number of channels. It varies which channels I do because it's been years of doing this. Sometimes for one reason or another, I no longer support certain channels. Sometimes they've moved on, I've moved on, things happen. But currently, the one we're on, the Urban Gardener, I've been doing not just facilitation, but Enoch has invited me in to learn other skills. And we've been working our way through that. So sometimes I've been a guest, sometimes I've been a pop-up host, sometimes I've been a planned host, sometimes I'm a producer facilitator in the background, in the backstage area that most of you don't see. So all of this keeps me
Yeah, we've really put Jay to work around here.
very, 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 very busy to do it at what I consider to be an acceptable standard. And I want to do well for all of you.
And you do. You definitely do.
Pull out.
Real quick, though, before we do let you go, though, let's give a shout out to some of those other channels that you do some facilitation for. We know Gardner Scott. We know we got us here
first
at the
one.
Let's Get Growing show.
The Urban Gardener, and so I do the Let's Get Growing show the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for him. Shawnee Grows, I support her, and she has pop-up lives, and sometimes now she's doing more planned lives. Bowtie Life in the Garden, I also help facilitate both planned and pop-up lives for him. Muddy Puddles Farm is a recent one that I just started doing. She just started doing lives as we lured her in through the community shows.
Right. Yep.
And that's something else that could happen for some of you that are a little shy about live streams. We can help you through it, you know, getting used to it, getting comfortable. South Florida Sunshine Tropicals is also somewhat recent, I think maybe a couple of months. Grow Up with Danny had actually waited a couple years to get me because I was so busy with other channels that he's got it. He's currently on a bit of a break for live streams because his life is super, super busy. So that's happening. And same with the Ultimate Gardener, Emmanuel Arce. He does live streams for a period of, say, 6, 8, 10 of them. And then he has to go on and deal with his busy life, which right now is also school, as is Danny's. So I do my very best to be available and facilitate and support all of these channels. And if I've accidentally forgotten your channel, I'm sorry. I'm very busy. So those are the ones I'm helping now.
Yeah. And again, like Rob put in the comments there too, you do such an amazing, awesome job. And again, also too, we put you really to work around here and you continue to do such exceptional things. The audience just really appreciates what you contribute to our show and other shows as well too. And again, really, thank you so much for doing all of that. I will kind of tease a little bit ahead. I'll talk about this a little bit later on the show, but Jay will be with us next Sunday as well too, as I've got kind of a planned day off for myself, so you can look forward to seeing Jay next Sunday for a conversation here on the channel.
Can I just make a request before we move on?
Absolutely.
This idea of me doing this show on Sunday just came about. So I'm willing to hear in the comments what subject, what person, maybe someone wants to step forward to be my guest. For right now, I've alternated between having guests and doing a specific garden subject matter. I'm open and flexible. I would like to hear some ideas. I will put my email in the chat for any of you who are a little shy to maybe put it public, but I would love to hear in the comments people's suggestion for next Sunday's show about what I might do with that. And the point is that I want to make it reflect the community. So if you guys, I'm a wide open blank slate right now. So if the community tells me something that seems like a good idea, that's what's happening.
Awesome. Sounds great, Jay. So everybody, send some suggestions Jay's way there, and definitely come and hang out with her this next Sunday on the show. Not tomorrow, but next week. And we'll talk a little bit more about all of that a little bit later here on the show. And again,
Great.
Jay, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us here at the top of the show. It's always great to catch up with you. And we'll look forward to seeing you this next Sunday.
Thanks. Great.
And in the chat. Don't forget, she'll be in the chat too.
Yes, I'm going to step back into the chat now. And this has been a great chat. Thank you so much, Enoch. And just one more quick tease out before we go is people are really pressuring me privately to eventually have some kind of facilitator course or training. That's certainly a possibility. So that we can
We've been working on that. We've been working on
clone
that.
me and have more people facilitating.
Yeah, we do got some trainees out there we're already working on, so we got to get that out. All right, Jay, excellent. We'll talk with you a little bit later and again next Sunday on the show, but thanks for hanging out with us today.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Bye.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits.
I'm back with the answer to this week's trivia question. Do you know what a love apple is? The correct answer is C, the tomato. When tomatoes were first brought to Europe in the 16th century, the French called them pommes d'amour, or love apples, and they considered them an aphrodisiac. Although science has yet to prove the aphrodisiac qualities of the tomato to date, they are certainly high in vitamin C and lycopene, which are very good for heart health. This love month, why not consider whipping up a batch of homemade tomato sauce and seeing what kind of sparks fly with your potential love potion? Happy Valentine's Day! And that's your garden trivia for today. Thanks so much for playing. Enjoy the rest of the show and be sure to pop by and say Happy Valentine's Day at the Suburban Gardenista on YouTube and Instagram. And there'll be links for you down in the description below. Thanks again and happy gardening!
All right. Did you get the answer to Brandy's trivia question this week? All right, excellent. What a great segment there that Brandy's been putting on for us this year. Great trivia. I hope you got the answer correct. If not, come and check out next week and give it another try. But thank you again to Brandy from the Suburban Gardenista for putting together our garden trivia. Link down below in the description. Go over and say hello to Brandy over on her channel. Like I was saying earlier, it's always awesome when you guys go and show some support to our contributors and guests here on the show, and go and give them a big shout out as well. So right on. And real quick here, before we get moving on today, let's talk a little bit about what we got coming up this weekend here on the show. Tomorrow is the third Sunday of the month. And on the third Sunday of each month, we do our monthly gardening book club here on the show, and we'll be joined tomorrow with our good friend Mark Roche Colbert. Mr. MBC will be here live with us for the In the Garden segment, as well as our co-host for the book club. And our guest tomorrow for the book club is Willie Galloway. Willie wrote the book Veggies for Breakfast. She wrote a lot of different other gardening books, but we want to focus a little bit on her new recipe book, Veggies for Breakfast, and talk a little bit about how we can take those things that we're harvesting from our gardens and be able to put them into the most important meal of the day. So I'm really looking forward to hanging out with Mark tomorrow, as well as getting to talk with Willie all about her really great book. Got it right here with us. I hope you get yourself a copy as well too, and come and check out our discussion tomorrow with Willie Galloway for the monthly book club. And also too, again, we are back again, 3-day weekend now here on the Let's Get Growing show. Monday evening, we do have our green room show with Natalie from the Fresh Princess joining us as co-host. And this Monday, we're going to be talking with our good friend Paul from Guten Gardening. He is also a contributor for our In the Garden segment on our Sunday edition of the show. He'll be joining with us along with Scott from New Garden Road. These two will be joining us on the conversation there on the green room Monday evening, so you won't want to miss out. Like I said, we're having a lot of fun with this new show on Monday evening, so you definitely want to come check it out. You got to check out our new segment. We got the lightning round and all of that as well too. We're having a lot of fun there on the Monday show, so definitely come and join with us then as well too. So right on, everybody, let's get moving on. We got a really great guest today here with us today. I'm really excited about talking with her, so let's get moving on today for our featured guest.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right. So let's welcome to the show. We got joining with us today, Maria. Oh, wait, we got 3. Oh, no, let's take that. That's what's going on there. Maria, awesome to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us on the show. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. There you go.
Okay, great.
Excellent. How are you doing? It's great. I was just mentioning before, we tried having you on the show through a while this last season and everything, so it's finally great to get you here on the show with us and spend a little time, and we'll talk a little more about gardening and all this other stuff as well too, but spend a little bit of time talking a bit about houseplants. Everybody gets to see my background all the time, and I've got all these great houseplants, Maria, that I have, and I'll show people some of them every now and then, but we're mainly like a food vegetable gardening channel for the most part and everything, so we don't get a chance to talk too much about houseplants. So it's awesome to have you here with us today.
Well, now's the perfect time, because this is when a lot of gardeners get what I like to call the gardener's itch. When, if you're in the Northeast or in zones, under, 7, you're stuck inside, and maybe you can start some seeds, but your fingers start to get a little itchy. So this is the perfect time for gardeners who are houseplant curious to play around with some.
Yeah, it is. It's a great time. It's really when I'm mainly focused on, I try to keep as good a focus on them as I can throughout the year, but then, the outdoor garden and all these other projects and stuff, so wintertime is really my hyper focus time for my houseplants. I'm taking tons of cuttings, and, I've probably expanded, and given away a ton of different plants as well too throughout this winter time. But it's a great time to have fun with your plants indoors.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's dig into it a little bit here. Let's get started with your growing story, Maria. How did you get started? Where did your love for plants start from? Was this something that you had? I'll give you a little background myself. As far as houseplants are concerned, I've been growing and doing them since I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, making my own propagations from my mother's plants and starting my own plants in my room. In fact, just over my head is there it is. We do it right up here. Is my spider plant, which was my very first plant I ever got to propagate. My mother showed me how to do, and I grew. And this isn't the same one, but it was my first type of plant that I grew. Was a spider plant right next to my bed growing up when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I've been loving plants and house plants forever. I didn't get into vegetable gardening until later in my adult life, but house plants have been a part of my life since I was a young kid. How about you? Where does your growing start?
Well, I think houseplants can really be the gateway drug for a lot of plant people
Yeah.
because they certainly were for me because I lived in New York City for my
Oh,
adult life. And the
yes.
joke of my life is that I used to be a really epic plant killer. I couldn't keep houseplants alive. I used
I've
to be a
gone through those
professional.
phases.
Yeah, I used to be a professional actress, performer. I was on Broadway and I did a lot of musicals, and that lifestyle requires a lot of traveling. So I could barely like keep myself fed and watered in my 20s. So keeping plants fed and watered wasn't a priority. And also I found myself really disconnected from nature, really plant blind. I don't know if you've ever heard that
Mm,
term, but plant blindness is a term that's been published, talked about how when you grow up in society that is in an urban environment, you're often very disconnected to nature and you don't even recognize nature as a living thing, like trees on
right.
your street or grass. Um, I definitely felt like that. And I used to just like bring plants home and think about it as a better investment. I was like, if I buy this snake plant for $9.99, it'll last me 3 months. If I buy a bouquet of flowers for $9.99, it'll last me a week. So I'll just buy the snake plant and let the snake plant die like a slower
Oh
death.
my
I'll get a better bang for my
god.
buck.
Right.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
so so things changed when I moved in with my boyfriend. He's my husband now. And I really wanted to nest, and all the photos that I was pinning on Pinterest had plants in them. And so
Mm,
I thought, okay, I'm nesting. This is my first apartment with like a boy that I want to like live in. So I'm going to do my research and I'm going to Google my way out of, being a plant killer. And
yeah.
through that, I like to say that I came to plants for the aesthetic. Like I wanted them to beautify
Right.
my 500 square foot home, fourth floor walk up in New York City. But I ended up staying for the wellness because what I realized is, living in New York City, I was a super overscheduled, overstimulated millennial. I had such a crazy schedule. I looked at my phone the minute I woke up. I looked at my phone the minute I went to sleep every night. And when I started caring for plants, I noticed the best way I can describe it is I used to wake up and have my coffee with my phone in the morning, and I would watch
Mhm.
YouTube or Instagram or whatever. When I started caring for plants, I would wake up and have my coffee with my plants in the morning. And in
Yeah.
that space, I had this like huge kind of spiritual awakening or like softening in my heart. And all of a sudden, not only was I singing to my plants and finding all this joy in the morning, but I was noticing the trees on my street in a way that I had never
Mhm.
noticed them before. I was noticing the plant in the nail salon that I had gone to for 4 years and never noticed, and then was like standing in awe for it.
Yeah.
I was in Cats on Broadway at the time, and my contract at Cats was ending. And the life of a performer is weird because you are living your dream performing on Broadway and then you're
Right.
unemployed when your contract.
Right.
So I decided I loved listening to podcasts because I was on the subway all the time and there were no podcasts about houseplants. I was searching and searching and searching for them and I couldn't find one. And I
Mm,
thought, you know what? I'll Google my way to figuring out how to start a podcast
there
and
you
I'll do
go.
10 episodes and I'll just get to interview horticulturists and I'll get to learn like how to stop killing plants.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in 10 episodes, I'll book another Broadway show and it'll just be like a love letter, like just an offering to other urban millennials.
Right.
And, I didn't book another Broadway show that quickly. The downloads kept doubling. I found this
Wow.
incredible community of plant people, a lot of millennials living in urban environments. Like, really, the show really resonated with them at the time. And that was 7 years ago. And I did it.
Wow.
I did the podcast part time for like 6 years. And then in the pandemic, theater shut down. So I lost my job as a performer and I was able
Mhm.
to pivot and become a full time plant lady. I got a book deal where I wrote one of the
Yeah.
first self-help books on how to use nature to live a happier life and haven't turned back.
I know. It's just amazing. It's such a great story and also kind of, you know, a fun look at how gardening can kind of just change our path or growing
Yep.
in plants in a sense for you and all that. And my story is very similar in a way, other than having and been, growing houseplants most of my life. My big passion is outdoor vegetable gardening and that sort of thing. And when I found that really took me off of and changed my path to where,
Mhm.
I'm trying, I'm here now and doing this sort of thing and having fun. Like similar amount of time too. I've been doing my channel, I think around 8, 9 years now.
Mhm.
And have just kind of grown with this community, which is just really, really amazing. But
Mhm.
more so the aspect of, what you talk about a lot too. And again, it's in the title. I think it's one of the reasons why I really like your podcast. I like this sort of thing because it's something we also talk a lot about here on our show as well, is that gardening just changes who we are in a way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, learning to get up and hang out with your plants in the morning and do that sort of stuff. And when we find ourselves in these moments and we're discovering what we're getting back from these plants and these things that we're growing and we're caring for, we start discovering, wait a minute, they're doing a lot of growing and caring for us in the long
Yeah.
run too. And what you talk about, finding that joy, finding that inspiration in life, all these sort of things through a connection with overall nature and plants in general for folks like us. But it's just a really amazing journey to take on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say if you have a problem, go out in your garden and you'll find the answer. Plants
Yes.
can really be a mirror for your life experiences. And, I have a challenge out to my audience. They have yet to stump me. If, anyone in the chat wants to put something down, like share a life experience or a struggle you're going through. And I bet I can find a nature based metaphor to help.
Oh
Um,
yeah, there you go.
when you look at nature, this term biophilia or the idea that we are nature, right? Like as living things, we are intrinsically programmed to feel relaxed, at peace, aligned around other living things. And I think people really understand with their pets, if you have a dog or a cat, when you're with your dog, you feel comforted, you feel
Mhm.
relaxed, you feel at ease. It's the biophilia effect. Your dog or your cat, or for me, my parakeets, they're other living things, and the living thing in me sees the living thing in them. And
Yeah.
there's that bond. It's the same with plants. It's just that a lot of people don't process that plants are living things just like we are, and we're all part of this natural ecosystem. So I think in a society that's so disconnected to nature, there's 100% a reason why in the pandemic, everybody started gardening and everybody started getting into houseplants. Like we had this intrinsic knowing that
Mhm.
said, go be in nature, go learn how to grow, go do the things that our ancestors did. Like the other interesting thing I find about the gardening space or the houseplant space is like none of this is new. All our
Yeah.
ancestors, like
Yeah.
they were growing food. We were, the Victorian era, they had houseplants. Like every era has had a intrinsic connection to nature. And just only in the last couple of decades have we become so disconnected. And so it's really just a remembering, but you have to
Mhm.
give yourself that concentrated screen-free time in nature, whether it's an edible garden or an ornamental garden or with your houseplants. You have to give yourself that time to remember that, this is a really joyful thing and your body is actually craving this connection and this time with plants.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, we are in this modern world, and we have, as people, have developed and built all these things around us that kind of create that distance
Yeah.
from that connection from plants. As you talk about, people can develop plant blindness and these sort of things when it comes down to it. It is a relearning process in a way, like you're saying.
Mhm.
I mean, this is something that's been a connection to us as humanity, with our connection to nature the whole time.
Mhm.
The whole time. We just kind of have to
We just forgot.
remember that
Yeah.
we are connected to it, because
Yeah.
we've done so much to disconnect ourselves through all these modern cool things that we like to enjoy.
And it's so important. I think it's a huge part of like the healing of our country and of our world. because so many of the root principles of nature are what society is missing right now. Reciprocity, community, diversity, you know, working together, like everything you see in nature, everything that's lacking in society is being demonstrated by nature outdoors or by our houseplants. And I don't know, I have a crazy feeling that if, every leader and every politician in the world was a gardener, the world would look like a really different place.
Yeah, we need to start hiring more gardeners to be our representatives and
Yes,
leadership out
100%.
there, and folks who are connected with nature and the natural world, because you're absolutely right that we could probably, like you're saying, find some sort of, a result or solution to some of our individual issues and things through a connection to nature. All of society, all of the world can find massive solutions with a better connection to nature and all of the troubles that we really have. And I truly believe that as well too. I think that's a great point. You also brought up community, which is a huge word. I think we need to start getting a lot more familiar with as we start moving forward over the next couple of years. And I learned this more so too because of this transformation, Maria, that I went through in discovering, my passion for gardening and growing and all that sort of stuff. Was, I started showing up on YouTube here and started learning from all these awesome gardeners who are now really amazing to have guests on my show nowadays. But I used to follow all these guys for years.
I know, isn't
trying
that
to
so
learn.
cool?
Yeah, and to learn from them and do all of that sort of stuff. But what I discovered in that time was this massively awesome community of just plant people, and I start the show out every day by, thanking my passionate plant people. I just love this community so much because it showed me in my life what, connection really means, outside of ourselves and our own little bubbles that we have, and things. And for me to be able to connect more with people is, again, another big part of this process I've been on in my connection with gardening and growing plants. But I think one of the more important things was connecting me with other people in such a great way. And you can't find a better community than the plant community.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. In my book, I have a whole section in my book on plant people and community and relationships. And one of the sayings is, plant people are kind people. We spend our expendable income, our time, our thought space on how to care for things that can't communicate with us. Like your tomato plant can't bark at you or cry when it needs water or when it needs nutrition. You have to tune yourself in a very sensitive way to your garden in a way that other people don't have to do. Like knitting needles don't wilt or die,
Right.
when you look at other hobbies, they're a lot easier. And for gardeners to really take their time to learn how to communicate and take care of things that really, truly can't communicate with them in their own language, that takes a very special person. That's a very
Yeah.
special, kind, sensitive, empathetic person just to cultivate those skills.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think there's a reason why everybody says that about plant people is that they're the nicest people. And every time I'm at a party and I meet someone and they find out I'm a plant person, they're offering me cuttings, and
Yes.
offering me advice and showing me pictures of their plants. It's because they're just genuinely nice people.
Yeah. It is. It's a common trait of a
Mhm.
plant person is this sort of a deeper connection with not just nature, but their community, the people who, share these similar passions and everything. And I love it. One of the things I also say a lot too, and I say is that, there's this point, as I was mentioning too, that we're going through our process and we're trying to grow plants. You were talking about how you just wanted to grow for the aesthetic purpose at first. You just
Mhm.
want some nice plants around to make the house look nice and all that. We all have this kind of initial purpose, right? That we kind of start this adventure on,
Mhm.
right? And then eventually there's this moment. And I had this moment. I think a lot of gardeners get this moment where it's kind of like, wait a minute, I'm getting so much more than what I expected
Yeah.
from
The
all of
ROI
this.
is
Yeah, the
crazy.
return on investment in this is
Yeah.
amazing, because there's this moment where I think it just becomes this moment where it just seals the deal, as I put it. It seals the deal. I'm a gardener, I'm a plant person. This is just the
Yeah,
way the rest of my life is going to go now,
totally.
because this is a lifestyle now for me. And there's this moment when, you recognize, wait a minute, I feel so much better when I'm hanging out, or coming in back into the house after a day of doing chores out in the garden. My mind's clear. I'm thinking things
Mhm.
so much differently. Uh, um, you know, maybe a little more less stressed out about something, so you're not approaching maybe something that was a problem for you maybe just before you got out into your garden, and you're really frustrated, and
Yep.
then at the end of the day you can approach it and have a conversation maybe in a totally different way, because you spent that time to kind of give yourself that sense of relief that you get from your garden. And that
Mhm.
comes back to what you were saying, Maria, is that we find and discover these things about what we're getting back from our gardens, and it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm rambling on here and everything when it comes down to it, but that is such a big, huge deal, is to make that discovery and to kind of know that we're getting something from this hobby, lifestyle, whatever we want to call it, more so than other folks are getting from some of the stuff that they're out there. Like you said, knitting,
Yeah,
maybe train collectors, or all of
right.
these
And no
other
shade,
awesome, cool
I'm
communities.
not saying
None at all.
I
But I'm
don't
just
want the
saying, you're
knitting
going to get
community to
so
come for
much out of
me,
it.
but there's
They can
something
come over
very
here. They can come over
yeah.
here. I'm fine.
There's there is something uniquely I find, and yes, I'm biased, but I find
Yeah.
something uniquely very special about plant people and about this hobby, because yes, you get a reward, especially if you're an edible gardener, like a lot of people who follow this channel are. Like, you
Mhm.
get your tomatoes, you get your basil, you get your
Yeah.
peppers or whatever you're growing,
The
but
initial
you also
intention.
get the
Yeah.
perspective, you get the nervous system regulation, you get the, benefit of soil under your fingernails. Like, you get so much more than
Being
just
out
the
in the
thing that
sun.
you're growing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's just, when I look at it, I look at those sort of things and I go, and I'll challenge anybody, like you say, I'll challenge anybody out there to find something that is as rewarding as gardening that you'll find out there. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, because there's just too many aspects of it that, we have our own in-house doctor here that we have on the channel every couple months, Dr. Jeff, who shows up, and he comes and talks to us about all these different aspects of how it's literally so good for your health, and on
Yes.
all of these different levels too, whether it's getting out and getting exercise, getting the sun that you need that's going to help all it, to the food nutrition that you're getting. We spent a good time talking about blue zones the last time he was on, and
Mhm.
all these different aspects of how gardening fits into all of these parts of longevity and things. I'm telling you, we can just talk forever about all of these just massively cool benefits that gardening and growing plants can do for you in your life. So again, I'll put that challenge out there.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Maria. So again, tell us now too. Let's just dig into some of these house plants real quick. What's your favorite house plant that you have in your collection, and maybe a
Such a
story
hard
behind it?
question. It's like, what's your favorite child?
I have some, but you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, and they
Sorry, guys.
change, right?
Sorry.
Like, my favorite plants that were my favorite plants a couple years ago are
Mhm.
not the same. Recently, I've been really just enjoying, like, easy care,
Oh yeah.
sentimental plants. So, like, this holiday cactus right behind me that's blooming is a gift from a friend of mine. So I had this like really special, almost like Tuesdays with Maury-esque scenario that happened to me a couple of years ago, where I ended up gardening with this 80-year-old woman in my community. She was a stranger, and then we met through the Nextdoor app and ended up gardening all summer together. We became best friends. She came to my wedding, and sadly passed from cancer a couple of years ago. And she gifted me this plant, and it blooms almost year round because I have it under a grow light. And I
Mhm.
just feel like whenever it blooms, it's like her cheering me on and being like, "Yes, Maria, you do it. Keep going, keep going." And then also I have a Hoya. Oh my God, the blooms just opened up.
Oh, here we go.
So I've had this Hoya for 3 years. Oh, do they smell? Let's give it a smell. No, they're not
Mm.
scented. I I've had this Hoya for multiple years and it's never bloomed. And I noticed the other day
Oh,
that
look at that.
it
I've got a
bloomed.
lot of blooms myself coming up everywhere too.
Yeah, it bloomed for me. And I just feel like that's so exciting. And it like teaches patience. I've had this Hoya for like 3 years. And for the first year, it like didn't even grow any leaves. Like it definitely was going through a
Mhm.
like root establishment phase. And
Yeah.
now to have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peduncles with all these blooms coming off, like to me, it doesn't get better than that. So she's definitely one of my favorites right now, but she was not a favorite of mine before.
Right.
So I think, but like I have, like you have your first spider plant. I have,
Mhm.
my first house plant I ever had too is, still with me. I've moved several times. I've moved like 6 times since I started caring for houseplants. So not a lot of my original plants are still with me.
Yes,
Um,
I'm same
but
here.
yeah, but I still have one of my original plants. So like the mentality of that. The first plant my husband got for me is a fiddle leaf fig tree.
Yeah.
You know, that plant is very special. So his name is Figaro the fiddle leaf fig tree. So I would say my favorite plants are probably like the sentimental ones that make me smile when I look at them.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. How about what's your so you just mentioned there, what is your oldest plant that you have?
Definitely this pothos. It's out of frame, but honestly, it's not looking very happy right
Gotta
now.
be a pothos too, right?
Yeah, of course. I've almost killed it so many times, like especially when I was a plant killer. It was the first plant that I got, so I learned a lot. We left it in like our apartment without air conditioning. It got like 100 degrees in our apartment. You know, we almost fried it one time. It's been in drafty windowsills in the Catskills in the woods. It's gone months without getting watered. It's been overwatered. Like I've made every mistake on this plant and it's been the most forgiving plant in my collection. So I have a lot of gratitude for it.
Yes, pothos for sure. So I will share with you that right behind, let's see if I can get this right. Right behind me, gray pot right there. There's a
Mhm.
pothos, and you can see it. It comes up here, goes around.
Yes,
It
I
comes
have.
around all the way around through over here on this side.
Oh, wow, big
It's
one.
probably about, I'd say about 50 feet going in this direction,
Oh,
wrapped over
wow.
here. You can't see it this way. But that plant I got back in 1997.
Oh my goodness. That's
Back in
amazing.
I was working at this restaurant in Spokane, Washington, and they had just replaced all of their plants in their dining room, and they had taken all the older plants from the dining room and threw them in the back in this, just dumped them by the back dumpster and all that in this big old pile of just dead plants that had been sitting there for a while too. I had
Mm.
gotten there, and so I was walking out, and this was a new job, mind you, so I hadn't been there when they did this, but when I first got started, it's like one of my first days at work too there, and I was like, hey, you guys are throwing out all these plants, what are you doing with them and all of that? And I was thinking more about the pots and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
They had a bunch of pots there and everything, and they're like, oh, just take whatever you want. And so I went into that pile, and there was just this, of course, the pothos stem on one of the plants with just a little tiny little green node on it. Everything else completely dead. I was like, the only bit of life I saw in this
All
whole
you need,
pile.
one
I
node.
cut it and clipped it, took it home, brought it back to life, and that thing's been growing with me now for 30 years. And
That's so
it's
empowering,
in
a
so
rescue
many
plant.
other people's homes that I've clipped and taken cuttings from and shared with so many people and everything. But that's again, another thing about having these cool plants. And again, a pothos, of course, because they'll
Yeah.
survive almost anything when it comes down to it.
Yeah. But I think that you mentioned like clippings and sharing. That's one thing I think maybe that's a little bit more accessible with houseplants than it is with gardening.
Yes, right.
Unless you can share your seedlings, you can share your
It
seed
starts.
starts,
Yep.
but houseplants are so easy to share cuttings with. And
Hmm.
I moved to Florida. I moved from zone 5B to zone 10B last year. Talk about like
Yeah.
a crazy
No doubt. Yeah, we'll have to
like
dig into that for some
earth-shattering
outdoor
moment,
stuff. That's crazy. Yeah.
but
That's
one of the girls that I met here, she was like, "You got to come over to my house. I have such a crazy plant collection." And it was so fun. She was a stranger. We met. I went
Mhm.
over to her house. We had a lovely afternoon, and she just walked me around her plants, being like, "Oh, you want a cutting of this one? Oh, you want a cutting of this one? Oh, you want a cutting of this one?" And I was like, "This is so cool. Like, this is so sweet." But they're so easy to just take a cutting and send home. And I've done that so many times when we've had guests being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you like that plant? Let me send you home with a cutting and a damp paper towel. Like, you'll love it." And then the plant does better at their house than it does at my house. And it's so crazy.
Yes, there are those too as well. You're like, "Oh, man, how are you doing so well with this?" And it's just not doing anything for me. I've had that before as well. All right, let's jump in here. I did get a couple of questions dropping in here. Shawnee's asking, did you get oh, wait, no, that's from earlier. I'll answer that in a little bit. This one here is the one I meant to put up. Houseplant list for beginners. Would that be like a snake plant, spider plant, pothos? We did mention pothos. Definitely a great beginner for sure. What do you think about these others for beginners?
Okay, I have a hot take about beginner plants. I'm
Let's
so
do it.
happy
Hot
that
take. Let's do it.
I'm happy that Shawnee Grows asked. So I don't think there's one beginner plant for everyone.
Okay.
I think that's why a lot of people think that they're plant killers, because everybody talks about how succulents are easy care plants. And if you're someone who wants to interact with your plants on a daily basis and you bring a succulent home and you water it every day or you water it every couple of days, that succulent is going to turn to mush. On the other side, like if you were someone who travels a lot for work and you brought a fern home and you traveled for 2 weeks and you didn't water that fern would die, right? So I kept seeing this question come up in my community. What's the easiest starter plant? And my answer to the question is you have to find your plant parent personality. And I have a free test on my website you can take, growingjoywithmaria.com/personality. And I built out 5 different plant parent personality archetypes and made customized starter lists for each of those archetypes. So what Shawnee Grows just listed, the snake plant, the spider plant, the pothos, those are perfect starter plants for a low maintenance plant parent. And that's one of my 5 archetypes. Someone who travels a lot, maybe you have kids, maybe you travel for work, maybe you're like a big adventurer, and you need your plants to like handle themselves if you are traveling. Like you can't have high maintenance plants. Snake plant, spider plant, pothos, dracaena, ZZ plant, like all of those plants that can really withstand drought would be amazing for you. But on the other side, the polar opposite of a low maintenance plant parent is someone I like to call the mindful plant parent. That's someone who is approaching plants from more of a spiritual perspective. Or sometimes they're called a helicopter plant parent.
That's
like up in their plant's business every day, watering
every
and talking
day
to it and, singing to it and doing all those things. They would probably kill all those plants because they would overwater them. So for that plant parent, I would recommend plants that like even moisture in their soil, like African violets or calathea, marantaceae, prayer plants. Orchids can be great for them. Air plants that you spritz, like if you like having plants on moss poles, you can spritz the moss poles every day if you want, instead of watering the plant. There's the design-based plant parent. That's someone who's coming at this purely for aesthetics. There's the urban farmer plant parent, who's someone who grows food indoors. Because I really started out catering to the person who's living in like 500 square feet. I can put the test link in the chat in case anybody wants to take the test.
Yeah, take the test. That sounds like a great idea. All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's my answer to that. There's no one right starter plant.
All right. So how about, and we hear this all the time, that house plants are great for keeping your indoor air clean. What's your take on plants that scrub indoor air toxins?
Okay, another hot take here.
Good. Let's do it.
So, to an extent, plants do filter air. However, this is more of a marketing ploy than something that actually happens in your home, because the reason why this thought that plants clean the air and filter the air is because of a study that NASA did in the 80s. And the way NASA did this study was that they they were studying plants for like being in space and like being on a, spaceship. So they did this very contained, very closed study in rooms that had no filtration, like no HVAC, no air coming in and out. And they had, oh gosh, I have it in my book. Was it 10 plants per square foot? I think it
Okay.
was 10 plants per square foot. And that's what they found, that yes, if you fill a room with no filtration, the plants will clean the air. And then they published that different plants clean air more than other plants. And there's all these grids that are like, this plant clears these things and this plant clears these things. But the issue is our homes aren't those NASA simulated
Right.
filtrationless homes.
Exactly.
So, and 10 plants per square foot, that's a lot of plants. If you are looking at 1,000 square foot,
I don't even think, if you're looking at the background right here, or even, well, yours as well too, there's not even 10
no
plants
way.
per square foot back here
Yeah,
even.
it's not.
I've
It's
got
not
them
realistic.
crammed into this room, and
Yeah.
there's not even
And
that
then like
here.
you got to look like a hoarder. Like there's no way to make
Yep.
that look aesthetic. So when you look at the context of a normal person living in their home, the plant is not going to clean the air at a fast enough rate that actually is going to do better than like an air filtration system. So yes, plants clean the air, but they're never going to do it better than your air filtration system, because they have windows, they have HVAC that like are constantly cycling new air in. So I think it's great to have plants in your home. And like my husband swears that when I started going crazy with plants, he felt a difference in the air quality. Maybe it's going to increase the moisture in your home. Maybe you're going to get so many amazing benefits from having houseplants, but technically bringing one plant home isn't going to leave a real marked difference on your air quality. I'm sorry to break it to you. It's like a real bummer. It's a real bummer that I have to tell you that.
But there are, again, too, there's a lot of these just really great things that get sold to us by, by folks, that just trying to get their snake plant into your house, or
also don't water your orchids with ice cubes.
That I mean, yes, don't do the ice cubes.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so funny. All right, let's see here. I got a couple more questions for you here.
Sure.
Let's see here. Nope. Was asking Maria, question about your grow light. What spectrum and light schedule do you use?
Yes, this grow light. I am the grow light queen, because I realized when I started collecting plants, I had more plants than windows. Like my collection got so crazy that I was like, oh, I don't have enough natural light for these plants. So this is one of many grow lights that I have. This is by Soltech. It's their Highland track light model. The spectrum, it's a full spectrum white light. If you go on their website, you can like find the Kelvin, like if you're interested in that. But my recommendations for having a grow light is that it should be full spectrum white light. Don't get the red ones. Don't get the blue ones. Don't get the orange ones. You don't want to look like a cannabis factory in your home, right? And now they make beautiful grow lights at every single price point you could dream of.
That's right.
And these are on, I believe, normally with my grow lights that I normally have, I have all sorts of different models of grow lights, and I normally do 12 hours on, 12 hours off. The one thing I noticed about these lights is they're so strong that my plants were drying out too fast in the green wall, and I didn't want to water them that much. So I think I have the lights on for 10 hours and off for 14 hours. My parakeets also live in my office, so like I have to taper it to their sleep. But that's the beauty of grow lights, is once you understand, and I have episodes on my podcast about this. We don't need to nerd out like crazy about light measurement, but when you're getting grow lights, you're measuring something called the daily light integral, and that's the volume of light that your plants are going to be getting throughout the day. The issue with a lot of people who kill houseplants is that they don't get enough light from their windows. So the DLI, the daily light integral, is not large enough to give the plants what they need to photosynthesize and make food and grow. So that's where grow lights come in. So you can get really in the weeds with grow lights if you want to, but generally I say go 12 on, 12 off, or 10 on, 14 off. And read the instructions of the grow light. Every grow light you get should come with instructions that tells you if you hang the grow light, if this is the plant and you hang the grow light here 4 inches above, that's highlight. If you go 8 inches above, that's medium light. If you go 12 inches above, that's low light. So make sure that you're reading the manual of the grow lights, because I've definitely, and I'm sure gardeners have made these mistakes with their seed starting lights, right? Like you put the seed starting lights too high and then your seedlings end up being really leggy.
Yep.
The light, because my grow lights are in the ceiling, the plants that are in that top row are highlight. The plants that are in this bottom row are low light, because of the distance that they are from the grow light. So if grow lights confuse you, or if you need support, I have so many episodes on my podcast and on my YouTube about grow lights and the grow lights that I use and suggestions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm so happy to help you, because it can be a little bit intimidating if you're just starting out.
Yeah, yeah, and again, too, there's just a lot of this, plant lights that are marketed out there and all of that, and so, yeah, there's a bit to kinda know. Do you use, like, a light meter? Because again, we can kinda test from, what the light is if you got it right up an inch or 2 from your plant versus a couple of feet from your plant.
Yes.
Do you use a light meter to kinda see, what your, lights are doing for your plants?
Yes, I have a fancy like $300 light meter that I understand is not accessible to most people. But for people who want a general sense of light, that was another huge question that I was getting from my audience. I actually put together a free download that helps you measure your natural light with a free app.
Oh,
So
okay.
you take 3 days and you do 3 different areas of your home. And with this free app, you hold your phone at the level of your plants and you aim the camera to the light, and it
Okay.
tells you, like, in general how much light you're getting, and then it shows you how to do the math to kind of understand. So if you're curious about measuring light, you can grab that download in the freebie section on my website. But that tends to help people. But also, I never want to make plant care intimidating for people.
Yeah,
And sometimes
never.
when you talk about measuring light, like, people's eyes glaze over, and I never want that to happen, but
Yeah.
it's really helpful.
Yeah, it is, and, and again, too, don't let certain things get in the way of you trying to don't let things seem too intimidating when it comes down to it is one of the biggest things I tell beginners, even in the outdoor garden. It comes back to what you're saying, that aspire to be a plant killer at first.
Totally.
And then from there, learn from there, get some basic lights and just see how they work and do some things, and then work your way up into learning more, into figuring that stuff out. Don't let it be something that's big and overwhelming for you, to be an
Yes.
initial start to get in it, because you'll find as you learn more, everything seems in gardening and growing to be so much, because we are talking about caring for plants and
Mhm.
caring for a living thing. So people really take it to heart, what it
Mhm.
requires to do and all that sort of stuff. But we want people to step back from that a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's step back from that a little bit. Let's just get in there and just, what would you do? Go do it and have
Yeah,
some
go try
fun.
it.
And
I
then get
failed.
in and check out Joy with Maria and learn a little bit more, and
Yeah.
progressively get yourself to the point where you're got this amazing background like she's got, and these awesome lights growing everything really amazingly too, right?
Yeah, my first year of houseplants was a disaster. Like, there were
Mhm.
so many dead plants. There were so many wilted plants. But you learn. I mean, what I like to say is every plant fail is the most rewarding learning opportunity, because if you kill one plant and you learn why you killed that plant, 40 plants in your future are going to benefit from that one plant fails lesson, because you're going to know more about the light issue. You're going to know more about the soil. You're going to know more about the watering. So I don't think it's about preventing failures in the garden or with houseplants. I just think it's about making sure that you take the failures as a learning opportunity.
Step into them. Just step right
Yeah.
into them. Just do
Yeah.
it. Go for it. Don't let anything get in your way, because the benefits, and as we've already kind of conversated about, are just going to be, you're going to have that aha moment down the
Yes.
road
Yes.
along the way. So,
And you'll never
just
stop.
get into
Like,
it, step into it, and just wait for it to happen.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've had garden fails this year. I've had
Oh,
garden fails this year. Like, it's
mhm.
not like you reach enlightenment and then all your plants are perfect. Like, this is a lifelong hobby, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Do you use any timers for your light
Yes, of
system?
course. On grow lights, you must use
Yeah.
timers.
Okay.
So that's a huge reason why a lot of people fail with grow lights.
Mhm.
There's no way you're going to remember to turn the grow light on and turn it off every day, 7 days a week. Buy
Yeah.
the timer for $10. You
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be so happy.
Even cheaper
Um,
ones too, you can find them for sure, but
so
yeah.
easy. You don't need the ones with the app. A lot of
Mhm.
people get their timers all hooked up with an app. I don't have an app. I just have the timer where you press
The little
the
click, click,
hours
click. Yep.
you want on and you press the hours you want off, and they work great. But yes, all of my grow lights are on timers.
Excellent, excellent. And about what timing are you utilizing, or does this change throughout the year, or do you keep it pretty consistent?
For the most part, most of my lights are on a 12 on, 12 off, or 10
Yeah,
on, 14 off, depending on what you're growing.
yeah,
And depending on, there's so many different factors, like what you're growing and also how far from the plant your grow light is. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just doing that. So the one thing that you do have to understand about houseplants under grow lights that's different than gardening is they don't experience seasons like our
yep,
outdoor plants do. Because
yep,
if you have them for 12 on, 12 off year round, that's why my plants bloom year round. They don't know.
yeah,
Um, people have their opinions about that. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, so understand that if you're growing plants under grow lights, they're not going to go through a dormancy. You don't have to pull back on watering during the winter because they're not experiencing that shorter photo period. And that's sometimes with blogs like general plant care blogs, like give advice that doesn't really apply to you. You got to be
y
careful.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I got all mine. I do about the same with all my lights, about 12 on, 12 off, keep them on. Like you said, they're indoors. They don't get, and for me too as well, lights are really, and I guess we didn't really touch on this yet, but I don't really got the right cool windows for the nice sunlight to be coming through my house to be able to really kind of take advantage of all that sort of stuff. So I do need to have those lights, and because the plants don't get that regular sunlight, we've got to create
Mhm.
that for them. We got to create that daily time, sun on, sun off for them, and they
Yes.
need a circadian rhythm, if you will, just as much
Mhm.
as we do.
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest surprise of moving to Florida, when I moved to Florida, I was like, I'm going to have a house with so much light. The windows are going to be so big. My plants are going to be so happy. Florida's where all the house plants grow. No, in Florida, they design homes to be very energy efficient. So
Hmm.
all of the windows have protective film that blocks sunlight, and everything has awnings over it because they want to keep the house cooler in the summer. So what I didn't realize is every house I looked at was the darkest house I've ever been in Florida because of that. So I've
Yeah.
never used more grow lights in Florida than even
Isn't
when
that
I was
what?
in the Catskills in Zone 5B.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's another thing with houseplants sometimes too, that there is more artificial manipulation, I think, than in the garden for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about that. You did mention too, again, and we'll dig into a little bit of outdoor stuff here. So you're living down in Florida now. You've changed from zone 5 to zone 10.
Yeah,
That's a cool, big, huge change. How long ago did you make this move?
a year and a half.
Okay, so you've been around a little while. Have you had a chance to get an
I've
outdoor
had one
garden start?
I've had one full year. And I've really given myself permission to be a beginner again
Yes.
because every plant is new here. Every
Mhm.
plant I knew how to grow,
Yep.
I loved hydrangeas in zone 5.
Mhm.
Hydrangeas don't grow in zone 10. Dahlias, I grew so many dahlias, no
Yeah.
dahlias grow where I live.
Oh my.
So, and the tomato varieties that I grew upstate are not the tomato varieties you grow down here.
Yep,
So,
yep.
I have just turned into sponge mode, and I am just learning. I'm asking the local gardeners. I'm going to the library.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read books and do research on like zonally specific. I'm actually using YouTube and trying to find Florida garden channels
Yep.
where I can learn, because I really am a beginner again. And I've really let myself observe. So
Mhm.
I'm only growing in raised beds right now and
Excellent.
containers
Yeah.
because the soil in Florida
Very
also,
common. Yep.
yeah,
Soil in Florida is just,
it's all
yep,
sand.
exactly.
It's
Yep.
crazy down here. It's all
I
sand.
know.
So I don't want to deal with that. So I'm doing
That's
containers. I'm trying to shop at local garden centers because I find the local garden centers have employees who are gardeners and really want to sit with you and help educate you on, oh, this is your first edible garden. Choose these
Mhm.
varieties instead of this one. This one worked really good for me last year instead of this one. And I'm letting myself make mistakes. So like I actually planted a full edible, 2 huge raised beds with a arch of edibles, and I kind of failed. Like it was like a failure to grow because I misjudged the light with the
Yeah.
shadow of my house and the strength of the sun in Florida because I
Yeah.
tried some plants. So I was like, okay, I want to put it in a little bit of shade because the sun in Florida is so much stronger, but I put it in too much shade, like it didn't get enough sun throughout the day, so the plants didn't actually really take off.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't feel bad about it. I'm looking at it
Don't.
now.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh my."
exactly.
Yeah, I'm like, "Ooh, that's embarrassing out there." But I learned so much, right? And,
Yeah. And
um
that's exactly the point. Again, kind of going back to what we were saying, you're giving your chance self a chance to be a beginner again. And moves like this gives us that opportunity to learn some new stuff about growing, And like you're
totally.
saying though, too, you are very fortunate, Maria. You do live down in Florida. Florida has a plethora of gardeners and growers, food growers and YouTube channels and all of
Yes.
that. One, in fact, is our good friend David at Bowtie Life. He's in the comments right now, and he's telling you right now, you got some good heat tolerant varieties of dahlias that you can get going there. You can
Okay,
point
David, I'll
you
try
in the
that.
direction too. And I'm
I
sure
gotta
David
copy
could
that
also
comment.
point you to a bunch of other really cool channels in Florida too, because he's down there in Florida and he knows a lot. He's really on the in on Florida gardening too. So we'll hook you up with some good YouTube
No,
channels to
for
go
sure.
and
And even
follow
what
for
I'm
sure.
finding too is Florida such a large state. The There's multiple zones just in the state. So like all the garden guides are like, are you south, mid, or north? And you're
Mhm.
gonna grow differently based on that
It
too.
is
So there's
too.
so
That's
much to learn.
true.
But I
Yep.
think what I'm really just trying to give myself is the gift of like not being ashamed, not being embarrassed,
I
like
love it.
being in sponge mode, asking. Your local libraries are such treasure troves of information. Like my
Yep,
local
yep.
library
The
has a
best
master
knowledge is
gardener.
local. Yep.
Yeah, like they have master gardeners every month that just come and answer questions, and they have a seed library. They have a seed
That's
bank.
that's so
Um,
amazing.
yeah, so I'm trying to just
And see,
learn
and
and
there it gives you that next and see, and also gives you, and then going back to this idea that again, one of the things we harp on around here too is this word community we talked about. And see, now
yeah,
you got a whole nother opportunity,
all new plant friends.
all new plant friends, all new learning
Yeah,
and adventure with your community. Because again, when you're growing outdoors and you're doing things and especially growing food and that sort of stuff, flowers, whatever, you know what I mean?
mhm,
Your best knowledge is going to be local knowledge. Find your local friends, your local
yes,
master gardeners, local garden groups,
and
community
garden centers.
gardens, garden centers. Get to know the people around you. That's going to be your best knowledge. I did want to dip back in here real quick to some houseplants because we did have one more
Yeah,
question, and then I got one last question for you. We'll finish up with here real quick, but we asking about humidifiers. I was going to ask about that. Humidifiers. Do you use
yes.
humidifiers for your houseplants?
I
And
am a
what's the
low maintenance
recommendation
plant
on that?
parent these days. I
Okay.
do not use humidifiers.
Okay.
I have used humidifiers in the past, particularly when I lived in the Catskills. And what I do use is hygrometers, which are little devices that measure the humidity in your house.
Okay.
And when I first started using hygrometers, it was like Christmas. I was running around, yeah, exactly, I was running around my house, like moving and I'd bring the hygrometer in the shower with me because I'd be like, oh my God, let's look at
Yes.
it spike and then come back down. So when I was in the Catskills, my house was 18% humidity. So I had to get creative. I also had very high ceilings. So I actually ended up growing my sensitive plants under glass, or I grew them all in one room that I ran a humidifier in because I
Mm,
couldn't humidify my entire house. Humidifiers take consistent work of refilling and cleaning and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
if you have really rare plants, they're very important because some, alocasia and calathea, like they would die in my 18% humidity house. But most houseplants do fine if you're over like 30 or 40% humidity. So
Okay.
now when I collect houseplants, it needs to be plants that I know don't need that extra humidity. Or I have glass vessels, and I find that growing plants under glass vessels, the glass makes this like more humid environment is just much easier for me. But I do love humidifiers, and I think a lot of like houseplant people really use them, especially like I have an archetype called the curious collector, and they're the ones that grow the like weird rare plants that they order from Asia.
Yeah.
They're investing in humidifiers, and the app that has the humidifiers all like synced up. It's so cool.
Yeah, I've thought about it myself too, and I've been wondering. My biggest problem, I wonder about getting a humidifier, because I know it would definitely help my calatheas out a little bit better. They're a little they have a rough time in here a little bit, but so I know it would be a little bit helpful, but I've got these cameras, I've got computers, I got these things in here that I worry about that moisture collecting inside of some of my tech too. So
Yeah,
that
totally.
might be an issue for folks that you might have to think about as well.
But you could get a big glass cloche and pop the cloche over your calathea, and I bet your calathea would love it.
I know, I got to get a good size one too.
Yeah, big one. They're
Big
great
one for
thrift
sure.
stores. Thrift stores have great cloches.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go out and get a look at that. That's probably the better bet for me, just in my own personal situation when it comes down to it. All right, my last question for you, Maria, real quick here. This is something I didn't want to forget about, because you did mention and you show us, and we can still kind of see that flower right there in front of you on your house.
Yes, Hoya.
Right, your Hoya flower right there. I've got a few of them. My trade Scantias are putting out flowers like crazy.
Ooh,
I've
cool.
got a couple of other here. I did have another Dracena, spotted Dracena down here that's putting out of flowers. But what is your favorite house plant flower? And I'll tell you mine. I have one. This is one I go on and on about every time I get one in my house.
Oh, really?
For years. It's when it pops one out. It's just okay. I'll just go ahead and let you know. You think about yours. I'll let you know mine.
Tell me.
Corn plants. Dracena fragrans. That's why it's called fragrans. Dracena fragrans corn plants put out one of the best and coolest, just amazing smelling flowers ever. And
you must have that plant under a lot of light to get it to bloom.
I guess we do have plenty, but we get plenty of light. And again, I haven't gotten one yet this year. Last year, I got 2 flowers off of it. And then I had a flower off of it maybe a year or so before that. I had a single, and then I had a whole other corn plant before that literally took years before I saw the first flower. But here's another cool thing about these flowers, though. Now, for one, if you get one of those that flower and you open your doors to your house at all, your neighbors are going to be smelling this flower.
Wow.
It's going to waft over. It's so intense. It's so much great, cool fragrance that literally when you open the door to your house, bam, it hits you. So you have a flower. You know you have a flower that has bloomed in your house, because sometimes I won't notice. It's just blooming and it's over there somewhere, and I notice by walking in the house and I go, ooh, the Dracena has flowered, and I'll go and check it out because I can smell it. It's so intense. It's probably one of the coolest ever. I've gone on about mine, but
I'll share with you another great fragrant plant that I love. It is hard to get to rebloom, but Maxillaria tenuifolia, otherwise known as the coconut orchid.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes the nickname is the pina colada orchid. It puts out either yellow or red flowers, and the flowers smell like coconut. It's crazy. And it is a powerful plant that those blooms will fill your entire room with that scent. So I do love that plant. However, sadly, I have not gotten it to rebloom yet, but since I've been in Florida, I've been growing it outside. So I'm figuring it out. And then the other thing I would say, underrated blooming houseplant, is your classic anthurium. Your
Okay.
classic flamingo plant, the Anthurium adrenum, they bloom pretty frequently and they're bred to have blooms in every single color. And if you look at wedding bouquets, like those Anthurium flowers are in every like high-end bouquet. So in a
Wow.
grow wall, or if you want something that blooms, I think that's a great blooming flower. And then also, I'm old school. This is like the oldest plant, every person's grandma had a holiday cactus, but
Yep.
once again, it's an easy bloomer. I wouldn't necessarily recommend Hoya because they don't bloom easily. I
Right.
waited 3 years for this thing to bloom, right? And it really needs a lot of light and some stress to it. So, if you want easy blooms, I would say your Thanksgiving cactus is going to just like bloom for you all the time. And once again, they come in every color now. So I think those are some great options for blooming plants.
Excellent. Excellent. Right on. Right on. Well, we covered a lot of good stuff here. There's so much more. Again, I'm always here at the end of the show and a broken record about this, but like, where did the time go?
I
You know what I
know.
mean? It's just so amazing and so awesome to be able to hang out and talk with people, and for all of us here too on the show to be able to hang out and talk about house plants for once too. So we're just so fortunate to have you to come and spend your time with us this weekend and share with us all about these great plant tips and knowledge as well too.
My pleasure. And if you want more houseplant, if you need houseplant help, I've got your back. We have over 350 podcast episodes on every aspect of plant care you could ever dream of. We have
Yeah.
entire episodes on humidifiers, entire episodes on measuring light, everything we've talked about.
Yep.
And also my YouTube channel. We have a lot of great instructional videos, and then also all the podcasts on the YouTube channel too. So, if you need some plant advice, I'd love to be your houseplant friend, in partnership with you, Enoch.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing. We got all of those links down below to your YouTube, Instagram that folks can follow you. I also have one other link too. I'm going to give you 1 minute here real quick. Tell us about your class coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'm hosting a live class, but if you can't attend live, it's also available. You'll get a replay, and it's all about how to make 2026 your most joyful year yet by connecting with nature. So no matter what's happening in the world, no matter how chaotic the world can get, if you root into nature through these nature-based practices that we're going to talk about and these nature-based theories, 2026, my goal is for everybody who attends the class to send me a DM in December 2026 saying, "Oh my gosh, Maria, it worked. December 2026 was my most joyful year yet. And I did it because I did it by connecting with nature." So it's a 75-minute class. It's $20.26. And you get a free replay of the first class we did as well. So if you guys want to join me tomorrow, it's noon EST. And if you can't make it live, you'll get the replay shortly after.
Wonderful. That sounds awesome. I hope you all take advantage of that. And again, check out all of the links down below to Maria's content. Go and leave her a comment on one of her videos or posts recently and let her know you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. And again, Maria, it's so awesome to talk with you today.
You too.
Here on the show. And again, we'll definitely have to have you back around again to continue this conversation.
Sounds good. I'll see you soon. Talk to you soon.
Excellent. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Bye.
All right, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation with Maria from Growing Joy with Maria. And again, check out all those links down below in our description to Maria's channels and that really cool class. I think it's going to be awesome if you guys want to attend that. I think I'm going to go check it out myself because I'm looking to grow a little joy for myself out of all of my growing this year too. So again, it was really awesome to have her on the show with us, and we'll look forward to inviting her back to talk more about house plants and gardening and see how well her Florida garden turns out this season as well too. So we'll look forward to that coming up down the road as well. Awesome, everybody. Let's talk real quick here before we head out about what we got coming up. Is of course, I told you all earlier, tomorrow on the show is the monthly gardening book club. We've got NBC joining with us live for In the Garden, and our co-host for the book club. We've got our featured guest, our featured author this month for her book, veggies for breakfast. We got Willie Galloway joining with us for the conversation. So definitely come and check out tomorrow's show and check out all these really great recipes and things we'll be talking about in getting those things we're harvesting in our gardens out or into our onto our plates. I'll get the words right here. Get them onto our plates for the most important meal of the day. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we've got the Green Room. We've got another Green Room show with our good friend Natalie from the Fresh Princess joining with us here. And we've got Guten Gardening, David from Guten Gardening joining, Paul from Guten Gardening, Paul from Guten Gardening joining us, and Scott from New Garden Road joining with us as well too for tomorrow night's show. And then next Saturday on the show, we're going to have NBC back with us. Hopefully, we're going to work out some details. He'll be at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. Oh, and I forgot to even talk about to Maria. Maria's should be up there, I believe, as well, too, in Seattle for the Flower and Garden Festival. So we'll catch up with him next Saturday and see what they've got growing on at the Flower and Garden Festival. I also mentioned that we've got Jay joining next Sunday for the Sunday edition to do a live chat with everybody. And then we'll be back with the Green Room next Monday. We're going to have our good friend Nick Fedoroff from Things Green joining with us, along with David from Bowtie Life in the Garden. They'll be joining with us in the Green Room next Monday night. So right on, everybody. We've got a great show still coming ahead for you all. I really appreciate having you all here with us today. And if you can, before you head out real quick here, let's go ahead and click that like button. Let's hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Share with all of your garden friends. And definitely follow all of the links down in the description below. And check out all of our guests. Let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show, as well as go and check out Ivy Organics free plant and scion giveaway over at ivyorganic.com, our sponsors, and definitely go and do that. Use our promo code too as well too. We got our promo code GROW10, GROW10. Get 10% off, get some free plants, get some of that 3-in-1 plant guard. You're gonna be glad that you did, for sure, and got all that free stuff along with it. So go and check that out at ivyorganics.com, everybody. And also, let's see, I'm already over, so I'm going to just go ahead and mention this stuff anyways. Send us some pictures for our snapshots of the week. I want to see some pictures, everybody. Send those in to us here so I can feature your gardens or what you've got growing on in your garden. Doesn't matter what it is, some seed starting, garden pets, garden decor, what you're starting with, what you grew last year. Even if you want to share something from last year, just send us some snapshots from your garden so that we can see what you've got growing on, and send those over to the Urban Gardener at mail.com. Use that email there to send us your snapshots to be featured on our snapshots of the week. So again, everybody, it's so great to hang out with all of you and have you all here with us. For sure. It's really, really great. Let's see here. And it's great to have you here. And let's see, what else could I say real quick before we head out? No, I think we're pretty good. Go check out last week's show. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for our book club tomorrow with NBC. And Jay just popped up as well to send Jay some ideas at her email there, ecologytoday@gmail.com, for some topics or things that you might want to talk with her next Sunday on the show when she's hosting our chat with everybody as well too. So excellent, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I look forward to seeing all of you for our show tomorrow. It's book club time. I'll see all of you then.
is the ugliest plant in the world, but I love it.